Good afternoon. County Executive Rich Fitzgerald here with Dr. Deborah Bogan from the Allegheny County Health Department to give our weekly update on COVID-19. And Dr. Bogan will give a lot more detail, but we know the news continues to get better. Case numbers are down, vaccination numbers are up, and as we head into the summer season with Memorial Day weekend coming upon us, I think the governor certainly has made the right call in lifting all the restrictions with the exception of the mask wearing at the end of the week. So that's good for Memorial Day. In Allegheny County, we have almost 750,000 people who have had at least one shot in arm. That's almost 3/4 of our adult population. That's better than the country and certainly better than the state. Although Governor just announced that over 70% of the state has had one shot in arm. So we're really hitting good marks here in respect to that. And now over 50% of our population has been fully vaccinated with both shots. So, the old line is the glass half empty or half full. However you want to look at it, we've got 50% of the people that have been protected. We need to make sure the other 50%, number one, get their second shot, but also those that haven't gotten shots get started. And the good news is, at this point, it's been about 6 weeks since everybody's been eligible and vaccines have been readily available in just about every neighborhood and every community throughout the county. So as we go into the June summer season, most folks have had the opportunity to been fully vaccinated. So I know that those of us that have it, now we don't have to wear a mask according to the CDC. If you've been vaccinated, the freedom that you feel and the relief that you feel knowing that you've been protected by this great science that our universities and all our researchers have been able to do and provide the protections that we have. So anyway, let me turn it over now to Dr. Bogan to give her weekly update on the pandemic. Dr. Bogan?
Thank you, County Executive. Good afternoon. This is an exciting time. With more and more people getting vaccinated, the number of new cases continues to decline. And now with the impending lifting of mitigation orders, except the masking order, we are entering a new phase of the pandemic. And if everyone is vaccinated by the end of the summer, this could be our last phase of the pandemic. So change is coming, but before we get there, let's start with where we always do, with the numbers. The daily average of new cases continues to drop, and for the first time since September, we are averaging fewer than 100 new reported cases a day. Meanwhile, vaccination rates continue to climb slowly and steadily. Almost all of our 65 and older population, 98%, is at least partially vaccinated. And for people 50 to 64 and 35 to 49, the rates are 74% and 66% respectively. Younger people still have some ground to go. While 55% of people 20 to 34 are at least partially vaccinated, the rates drop to 37% for people 15 to 19 and only 9% for people 12 to 14. So definite progress, but I'd still like to see more people get vaccinated. So here's my weekly plug. Please get your vaccine today. Call 211 to make an appointment or to get help with transportation needs to go to an appointment. Nearly all vaccine providers now are allowing walk-ins, so just walk in if you walk by someplace and you want to get a vaccine. Remember, the vaccines work. They will protect you from the serious effects of COVID-19, and with each dose administered, we inch closer and closer to normalcy. Speaking of vaccines, a county resident recently reached out to us at the health department and asked an excellent question. Are unvaccinated people who recently tested positive for COVID-19 required to wear masks? The answer is yes. Although it's thought that you are protected after infection for about 3 months, according to the Department of Health guidelines, only fully vaccinated people should go maskless. The reason is that we simply don't know enough about the risk of reinfection from new variant strains following infection. The vaccine, on the other hand, is proven to be effective even against variants, and we know the immunity from vaccine exceeds that of infection both in strength and duration. Now for the changes. As we all know, Governor Wolf lifted all mitigation orders except for mask mandate in the state of Pennsylvania starting on Memorial Day. While I'm pleased that we are in a place where dropping the mitigation orders is possible, I urge everyone to continue to make wise decisions. Outbreaks continue to trace back to high-risk events such as indoor parties, sporting events, and other gatherings where attendees do not wear masks or physically distance. I'd also like now to announce some administrative changes. It's hard to believe, but for the more than 60 weeks, the county executive and I have held these virtual briefings every Wednesday. But the time has come to move to every other Wednesday. So while we will hold a public briefing next week on June 2nd, the next briefing after that won't be until June 16th. We are also changing the frequency of the daily COVID-19 update. Currently, we issue updates 6 days a week. With the relatively low number of new cases per day, we are moving to 3 days a week, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, starting the week of June 6th. I know this will be quite a relief for my staff who work extra hours every Saturday to release the information. I'll add that we will have a daily update this Saturday, but in order to allow the health department employees to spend the Memorial Day holiday with their families, there will be no update on Monday. Instead, we will issue a 72-hour update covering Saturday, Sunday, and Monday on Tuesday, June 1st. We're making these changes because of our lovely progress against COVID-19 in the county. And if we continue to get more people vaccinated and practice common sense public health practices like washing our hands regularly, wearing a mask when appropriate, the numbers will continue to decline and we will continue to move closer to normal. So with that, I thank you for your time. Enjoy your Memorial Day weekend and remember to be safe and to be kind. Thank you.
Our first question is from WTAE. Do you have any message for people planning Memorial Day travel? What would you advise them to do given the current state of the pandemic?
Oh, that's great. So, so one thing I would do is to make sure the friends and family you're hanging out with are vaccinated, and if they're not, make sure that you're wearing masks. I had this happen the other day. I had a service person come to my home, and I asked very politely if they were vaccinated or not. And when they said no, I asked that they please wear a mask while in my house, and I and my family all put on masks as well. So I encourage you to have open dialogue and make sure you're protecting yourself. Follow the state and CDC guidance. I would continue to wear masks in crowds because you don't know who around you is and is not vaccinated. And remember, people spread this virus unknowingly because they don't have symptoms many times. And I'm also going to remind people that if you are sick, I don't care what your symptoms are, please stay home and don't travel, because not only do we prevent the spread of COVID, we also prevent the spread of other viruses. So, and if you are symptomatic, to go get tested. So those are my reminders for Memorial Day.
The next question is from WPXI. After seeing the large crowds at the Penguins games since the capacity changes, do you have any concerns for COVID spread at events like that? My understanding is that the Penguins required mask wearing at the arena and enforced that, so that was great. And again, if you are vaccinated and you attended that kind of event, you are fully protected if you've gotten all of your vaccines and you're 2 weeks out. So again, encourage people who haven't, who want to attend those kind of events, to go get vaccinated. Our next question is from WESA. Yesterday, Spotlight Pennsylvania reported that 636 doses of the Pfizer COVID vaccine that were allocated to the health department spoiled. Apparently, these doses spoiled in April and early May. What is the health department doing to prevent future spoilage of vaccine? Yeah, so the Pfizer vaccine that was spoiled really came out of the fact that the thawing processes for the vaccine, the guidance was that once it was thawed, you had to use it within 5 days. And that happened at the same time when the rates of cancellation and missed appointments greatly increased into our county clinics. And so we had thawed vaccine based on our appointment schedules, and then those basically dropped off very, very quickly.
Since that happened, they have changed the rules for Pfizer thawing, and now when they're out of the freezer, they are good for 30 days. It was 5 days, so that was a changeover since then. So that will help reduce wastage as well. And again, this was a very small number of the 129,000 vaccines we've given. So it was very unfortunate, and we're working very hard to make sure it doesn't happen again. And the new thaw criteria will help us do that.
This next question is from WTAE. Related to Memorial Day. Do you have any message for families as their children prepare for summer break with younger children still unable to be vaccinated? What advice do you have for those families?
Yeah. Children will be children, and they'll play with other children, which is great. And we know that children will spread the virus to other children and to other family members. So as much as possible to make sure everyone in your family who is eligible to be vaccinated is so. But I think this is one of those things where families really have to do an individual family risk assessment. Are the children coming home to people who are not eligible for vaccine or aren't vaccinated and high risk? Do the children have individual risk factors? And I'm hoping in the not too distant future, children will be eligible for vaccines as well. And again, we still have a relatively low rate of vaccinations among children 12 to 17. So again, there are tons of vaccines available. Go out and get your children vaccinated if they haven't. And again, that will reduce the risk for everyone.
And this final question is from WESA. Demand for the COVID vaccine has decreased significantly. Roughly how many vaccine doses are being administered a week, and how does this compare to last month?
I guess the question for me is, are you asking about the Allegheny County Health Department vaccine administration or the county as a whole? So when you look at the state dashboard, the county as a whole at peak was giving close to a huge number of vaccines a day. We're down to about 6,000 to 7,000 vaccines per day across the county. And that's down from just a couple of weeks ago where we were giving sort of 8,000 to 10,000 vaccines per day. Currently, we are at the county health department sites. The large ones are essentially closed down, so our numbers of vaccines have declined a lot. We're giving mostly second doses now through our county clinics, giving somewhere from 100 to a couple of hundred a day, and our first doses are way down from in the teens to 100 a day. We are trying to again make our vaccine approach from the county health department really related to small events out in the community, going to small community events, which is I think what we've talked about. It has to be the approach going forward, and again making all barriers to vaccines as low as possible, making them available in many locations with extended hours, walk-ins, etc.
And that was the final question.
Great.
If there's any closing remarks.
Well, thank you, Dr. Bogan, and that is certainly good news to see those case numbers continue to come down, our hospitalization numbers come down, and obviously the fatality numbers as well. That is good news, and that vaccinations steadily increasing. We'd like to see them increase a little faster. And again, as Dr. Bogan said, if you call 211 to see the closest place, we'll make sure we find a place for you if you need transportation, whatever it might be. We still have a few 100,000 people, a little more than that, that haven't been vaccinated, and that's a significant number, even though we're hitting a good percentage. So the good news has been throughout this pandemic is that Dr. Bogan and her team have really, worked steadily. And boy, if anybody deserves a couple days to be with their family, it is our hardworking folks who have done everything to keep people safe during these past 14, 15 months that we've been dealing with this pandemic. So we hope everybody certainly has a good, safe holiday weekend. And as we head into the summer, encourage those that haven't been vaccinated to be vaccinated. We're very close, following the mitigation strategies that have been out there and continue to be out there. But it really is, the key is the vaccine. If people get vaccinated, they're going to be protected. If they're not, they're going to be at risk. So have a good weekend.